1825, Tasmania, the far edge of the British Empire. A prison island where convicts do the dirty work, soldiers hold the whip, and the island's first people are being driven off their own land in a bloody conflict everyone calls the Black War. Out here, at a locally military post, lives Claire, a young convict from Ireland. Her husband Aidan works the forge, and their baby girl is the one bright spot in a life that isn't their own. The men stationed there have a nickname for her. They call her the Nightingale, because when she sings, even the roughest soldiers in the room go quiet. Her day starts before sunrise, with Aidan waking her just to say he loves her on his way out to work. Later, she walks the woods with the little one, singing softly, always keeping one eye on the trees. Life could almost pass for normal if it weren't for the man who runs this place. That man is Lieutenant Hawkins, and today matters to him. A visiting officer, Captain Goodwin, is coming to judge whether Hawkins deserves a promotion. Sergeant Roos spends the morning kicking his men into shape so the post looks halfway respectable. Your shoes look like they're dipped in shit. Eyes front. I want to see my face, you know. I'll be like nuns in church, Lieutenant. You have my word. Polish your boots and brush your coat. Don't like shite yourself. Claire gets cleaned up and dressed for the occasion because Hawkins wants his songbird on full display. She performs for the troops that evening, and the whole room melts. Till they came to a stream, and they both sat down together, loved to hear the night. Afterwards, she moves between the tables pouring drinks, and the soldiers start pawing at her like she's part of the entertainment. She answers one of the grabbies by spilling a drink in front of him. Claire plays along with all of it for a single reason. She was sentenced years ago, her time is served, and one signed letter from Hawkins would make the whole family free. Without that paper, none of them can go anywhere. After the show, the lieutenant summons her to his quarters. He hands her a few cheap trinkets, orders her to sing a song about butterflies that reminds him of his mother, and slides in close while she does. Claire pulls away and asks about the letter instead. It's 3 months overdue. Her sentence ended long ago. Hawkins drops the charm in a heartbeat because, as far as he's concerned, Claire isn't a person at all, just his property, and property doesn't make requests. I decide when you begin and when you stay. When she stands her ground, he takes what he wants from her by force. What? Captain Goodwin shows up at the post too late to matter, grumbling that the men spent the evening drunk and shooting at the sky. Claire walks home in pieces and says nothing. She collects the baby from a friend, fetches Aidan from the forge, and holds herself together all the way to their hut. Inside, she admits the letter still isn't signed. Send it when he's ready. When commanded the first thing in the morning, all worked. He owes you your ticket, Claire. It serves your time and then some. Aidan sees the bruise on her face and asks what happened. She tells him she fell. He doesn't fully buy it, and his first idea is to march over and have it out with the lieutenant right there. His second is for the family to just run. Claire shuts that down cold. Without papers, getting caught means prison for good, and there's a daughter to think about. So her husband swallows his anger and promises to ask for the letter politely, man to man. The following morning, while Claire chops firewood, that polite conversation gets its chance. It goes nowhere. Aidan walks away with a look that says everything. By evening, the whole thing boils over. Claire is serving the soldiers again when Aidan, several drinks deep, plants himself in front of Hawkins and demands what he's owed. Yay, what's your mouth for letting speak? His wife has served well past her sentence, he says, and the lieutenant has no right to keep her. I want to let her go. She's paid her dues. So have I. Hawkins answers that Claire belongs to him, plain and simple, and that a convict doesn't get to lecture an officer. She's my wife, and she's my property, so I'll do what I want with it. Aidan's fist lands before the man can finish talking. Soldiers pile in. The room turns into a brawl, and the noise drags Captain Goodwin straight into the middle of it. In the office afterward, Goodwin takes Hawkins apart, a lieutenant trading punches with the help. A post full of drunks, zero discipline. Hawkins protests that this posting was supposed to last a single year, and he's been rotting here for 3. Goodwin doesn't care. There will be no recommendation, no captaincy, and Hawkins will not be traveling traveling north with him. The door closes on every ambition the man has. And still I've had consistent results. I've civilized the land, got rid of the blacks, made it say I won't owe you anything, Lieutenant. I'll travel north to Launceston. See Major Bexley myself and apply for the position in post. We filled in 4 to 5 days. Hawkins comes out of that office looking for someone to blame, and he lands on the Carroll family. He rousts Ruse and Ensign Jago and orders them to be ready to march at dawn. His plan is simple and desperate. Goodwin will travel the long way around to Launceston. Hawkins will cut straight through the bush, beat him there, and argue his case for the captaincy in person before anything is official. I'm not ready yet. Dangerous. Yes, dangerous, you fat-headed lump. Ruse rounds up the mules and a few convict carriers. One of them, a small boy named Eddie, who hauls loads to earn his keep. For a tracker, the lieutenant drags in an older Aboriginal man against his will. But before any of that, there's one piece of business left at the post. Claire and Aiden are packing to disappear that same night. She asks for a minute to nurse the baby first, and that's the moment the soldiers force their way in. Aiden tries to defuse it. He apologizes for the punch, and Claire begs the lieutenant to let it go because her husband was drunk. I'm sorry. Going somewhere? We're very sorry. Like you. Hawkins isn't there for apologies. He tells Aiden in detail exactly what he's been putting Claire through all this time. Did she not tell you? Oh, we can mad since she pushed that brat out. She loves it too. His men pin the blacksmith in place. What follows inside that hut is a horror that doesn't belong in words. Hawkins forces himself on Claire while Aiden is held there and made to watch. Her husband tears loose once, gets his hands on the lieutenant's throat, and is dragged off again. A little gunshot ends him. The other men take their turn with Claire, and when the baby's crying becomes too much for them, one of the men makes sure it stops. Jago is ordered to finish Claire as well. The young ensign can't pull the trigger on her. The stock of his rifle comes down on her head instead. Claire wakes at first light next to everything she's lost. What's left of her doesn't scream or collapse. She lifts her daughter's body, walks through the middle of the settlement carrying her, and the people who see it can hardly stand to look. She brings it all to the magistrate, every crime, with the proof, right there in her arms. The best the man offers is to put it in a report and file it away. Go to hell! Hawkins, it turns out, rode north in the night with his men, and nobody in authority has the slightest interest in chasing an officer over the word of a convict. So Claire stops asking. She asks the family to bury Aiden, and the little one ignores everybody who tries to talk her out of it, and takes a rifle and her horse to hunt the men down herself. Her uncle gives up arguing and does the only useful thing left. He walks her over to a camp where Aboriginal families live in shacks. Who are you? And that's how Claire meets Billy. Billy is a tracker, and he wants nothing to do with her. He spent his life being pushed from one forest to the next by white colonists. And just that morning, a lieutenant hauled his uncle away by force to guide a party north. Claire doubles her offer on the spot, half the money now and half when they arrive, and feeds him a lie to seal it. She says she only needs to catch up with her husband, who's traveling with the soldiers. Billy takes the job with a warning. He'll show her the way, but he's nobody's servant. And if she dies out there, that's her problem. Not taking that horse with you. She's slow. She's coming with us. And I'm taking the dogs. No dogs! The two of them ride out with a wall of distrust between them. Claire speaks to Billy the way owners speak to livestock. Move, boy! Billy looks at her and sees one more colonist, no different from the people who wiped out his family. They argue at almost every bend in the trail, and at one point she even levels her rifle at him just to feel in control of something. The land itself keeps reminding them how ugly this war has gotten. They pass a farm burned to the ground, a settler woman standing in the wreckage with an infant on her hip. Farther on, a farmer snaps off a shot at Billy on sight, and the bullet only just misses. Claire covers with the first lie that comes to mind. That's my black. Her would-be rescuer rants that natives torched his house and slaughtered his animals, and warns her the roads aren't safe. A little way beyond his property, two Aboriginal men hang dead from the trees. Billy stares at them and says out loud what the whole journey keeps proving. White people took the land, took the food, took everything, and strung up the original owners for fighting back. The bickering doesn't stop. When a road gang of leering convicts blocks Claire's path, demands to see her travel papers, and makes it very clear what happens to a woman without them, she spurs the horse and blows right past. Billy, who made himself scarce the moment trouble appeared, catches an earful about it. She's paying him to protect her, she snaps. He reminds her the money buys directions, nothing more. Rain hammers them the next morning, and Billy wants to wait it out. Claire refuses to lose a single hour, so they slog on until the horse bogs down in the mud, and both of them have to wrestle the animal free. The one gift the downpour leaves behind is a trail of soft prints, and Billy reads it like a letter. 7 people up ahead, one of them a child. To close the gap, he offers a shortcut through rough country, and Claire takes it without blinking, right up until she finds leeches stuck to her legs and nearly comes out of her skin. Billy just laughs and tells her the little bloodsuckers are harmless. Up the track, the soldiers stop near a river. Little Eddie asks Sergeant Roos for help hauling water and gets loaded down with extra weight for his trouble. Wandering the bank, Roos stumbles onto a young mother from a local tribe, out gathering food with her child. He drags the woman back to camp and leaves the kid alone in the bush. Hawkins is halfway to telling him to turn her loose, but it takes very little persuading before the lieutenant changes his mind and the captive ends up tied to their cart. Claire and Billy hit that same river where it's running high and fast. Billy wants to go around or wait for the water to drop. Claire rides straight in. The current rips her out of the saddle almost immediately and takes off with her downstream while the horse thrashes for the bank. Billy hauls the animal out first, spots Claire going under, and dives back in after her. He drags her onto the mud coughing and half drowned, and she can't even manage a thank you. Worse, the river ate their supplies. Hungry and out of options, Billy leads her to a lonely farmhouse to steal food, and they're grabbing what they can when the owner comes home shooting. The two of them sprint into the trees with their stolen dinner and don't stop until the shouting fades. That night, over the bread they lifted, the wall between them finally cracks. Billy tells her what the colonists did to his world. His father and his brother were shot in front of him when he was a child, and he lost his mother in the chaos of families fleeing for their lives. Years back, Hawkins himself paid him to guide soldiers to a camp of his people, and Billy watched it turn into a massacre. He swore he'd never work for a white face again, and now look at him. He asked Claire for one thing only, that she do him no harm. She tells him she has no reason to. She's Irish, shipped across the world in chains herself, and she hates the English crown with everything she has. So the two of them find their first patch of common ground in who they despise. Billy sings her the song that carries his real name, Manggana, the black bird, and talks about heading north after all this to find whatever family he has left. Claire answers in kind, singing something of her own people. The soldiers' campfire is a different scene. Ruse, deep in a bottle, keeps needling their captive guide about the color of his skin, while young Jago sits apart from the others, hollowed out by what he did to Claire's baby. Hawkins tells the ensign to stop torturing himself. Nobody, he says, will ever take a convict's word against soldiers of the crown, and the strong were put on this earth to do as they please with the weak. He makes it clear that the subject is closed for good. Later, in the dark, the lieutenant and his sergeant take turns brutalizing their prisoner while the old tracker and the boy are forced to sit there and do nothing. Claire and Billy get their own visitor that night. A stranger stumbles into their camp, takes one long look at Claire, and starts hollering for his friends about the fun they're going to have. Her powder is soaked and useless. Billy drops the man where he stands, and the two of them grab everything and vanish into the dark. Come morning, he refills her flask from the farmhouse stash. One more stick in the trust slowly building between them. The soldiers' luck runs out at dawn. Warriors from the captive woman's tribe hit the camp hard. The first strike takes a carrier through the throat, the next opens up Jago's leg, and the men scramble for their guns. The tribesmen came to bargain, not to slaughter. Their leader lays his spear on the ground and asks for the woman back. Hawkins answers by shooting her in front of all of them, and in the shock that follows, he and his his people grab what they can carry and run. In the chaos, the wounded Jago gets separated and ends up limping through the bush alone, leaving a blood trail a blind man could follow. Billy finds where the track split and reads it instantly. One man, hurt, dragging a leg. Something in Claire snaps loose at those words. She takes the rifle and goes after him herself, and when Jago spots a figure in the distance, he runs toward her at first, yelling for help. The moment he realizes who this woman is and what he took from her, the screaming changes. He stumbles away, falls, begs, swears he's sorry about the baby. Claire shoots him down. The begging doesn't stop, and when she tries to fire again, the rifle misfires. So she wrenches his own blade off him and puts it to work. And after the knife comes the gun stock, and she keeps going long after there's any reason to. Billy arrives in time to see the end of it, and it scares him to the bone. This was never about finding a husband. He heads for the horse, done with her lies, done with the whole cursed trip. And Claire finally tells him the truth about the night the soldiers came to her home, what they took from her, who they left in the dirt. Billy goes still and stays. From that day, she stops barking the word boy at him and starts using his name. The trail leads them past what the squad abandoned in its panic, a cart in the dead from the morning's raid scattered around it. Billy reads the ground and doesn't like the warning it spells out, but Claire pushes them on. Sleep gives her no rest either way. Every night the same voices claw through her dreams, the baby crying, Hawkins snarling at someone to shut it up. And then one night the nightmare changes. She sees Aiden with their daughter in his arms, calm, telling her they're all right. She wakes from it to a stabbing pain in her chest. She's a nursing mother with no one left to nurse, and the milk has nowhere to go. She tries to ride through it and collapses instead. Billy brews a remedy the way his village taught him, chants over her against bad spirits, and rubs the salve on until the worst of it lets go. While she rests, he hunts with a spear he's carved himself. And after days of scraps, the two of them finally eat like human beings and let their strength crawl back. The soldiers, meanwhile, are being led to their doom by the quietest man among them. Their captive tracker steers the group up a steep ridge, claiming it's the safest way to dodge raiding parties. Hawkins doesn't love it, and keeps repeating that he needs to make Launceston by tomorrow, but he follows. At the top, the old man spreads his arms, announces that all this bear country now belongs to them. They can rule it as kings of nothing, and turns to leave. This is his answer for the woman they murdered, a dead end at the top of the world. Hawkins tries threats, tries bargaining, and gets nowhere. And that's when Ruse puts a bullet in the old man. The lieutenant beats him bloody for it, screaming that he just killed the only person who could lead them out. And as punishment, the trigger-happy fool gets one day to find the way down himself. Hawkins then hands little Eddie a pistol, names him a sergeant on the spot, and tells him Ruse's life is now his to spend. The kid chooses mercy, and the beaten man walks away, owing his skin to that soft little heart. Claire and Billy reach the summit a day behind and find the body. Billy drops beside it and breaks. The dead man is his uncle Charlie, the last blood family he had on this earth. He buries him with the rights of their people. And when he stands up again, this hunt belongs to him too. They took Charlie from him. They don't get to keep breathing after that. Catching the killers turns out to be the easy part. Without a guide, the party is wandering in circles, and Claire and Billy soon have them in sight. She rises from cover, levels the rifle at the man who destroyed her life, and freezes. All the rage in the world, and her finger won't move. Every nightmare from the past weeks piles onto her at once, and in that gap, Hawkins spots her and fires first. The shot clips her arm. The two of them scramble into the brush and run, and something in Claire gives out for good. Shaking, bleeding, she tells Billy she's done. She wants to go home. She only asks for one thing before they turn back, her horse, because Becky is the last living piece of her husband she's left. Billy takes pity on her and goes to retrieve the animal himself. He walks straight into the soldiers. They beat him down, and when Hawkins demands to know where the woman is, Billy says she's dead. Nobody's sure whether to believe him, but it hardly matters. What the party needs is a guide, so the tracker gets a rifle at his back, courtesy of their newest sergeant and marching orders. Billy leads them through the night, and the whole way he keeps making loud bird calls as if talking to the forest. Claire knows better. The noise is is for her, a trail of sound to follow in the dark. She shadows the party until Hawkins catches a glimpse of her and sends a couple of shots her way. And after that, she's alone, stumbling blind through the bush with the voices of that terrible night playing in her head. By morning, Billy has done exactly what they wanted. The squad steps out onto the open road that runs to Launceston. His reward is immediate. Hawkins tells Eddie to shoot the guide, and the boy raises the rifle with shaking hands. Billy barks at him at just the right moment. The shot goes wide, and the tracker disappears into the scrub before anyone can reload. Eddie begs for another chance, swears he'll do better. Hawkins looks at the child, who missed on purpose, and decides he has no use for a witness with a conscience. The kid doesn't get one. Claire, half dead on her feet, gets her way out of the wilderness from the last place she'd ever have guessed. A blackbird lands on the ground ahead of her, straight out of Billy's song, and hops along, and flies a little, and waits. She follows it until the trees open onto the main road. A traveling couple confirms she's on the route to town. When a carriage rolls by, she begs a ride and gets shoved away at first, but the lady riding in it orders the driver to stop and lets the ragged stranger climb on behind. A few miles on, Claire spots a figure trudging ahead, jumps off, and runs. It's Billy, alive, and neither of them needs to say a word. They keep moving together and come across a lonely cottage. Inside, the owners lie dead. Whatever happened in this place is over, so the two of them take what nobody will miss: food, clean clothes, and a gun, and get going again, looking a little less like fugitives. The disguise matters now, because the closer they get to town, the more armed white men they pass. Claire walks ahead with the rifle and plays the mistress. Billy trails behind and plays the servant. The act gets its first real test when they meet a column of Aboriginal prisoners in chains. One of the captives speaks to Billy in his own language, and the news lands like a hammer. The man says their people are gone, wiped out, and that he's the last of them. He turns on the guards and starts shouting about everything the white men have done, and Claire and Billy walk on with their eyes forward while gunfire settles the argument behind them. Billy doesn't speak for a long time after that. Farther down the road, an old couple in a cart becomes the first pair of colonists in this entire story to act like human beings. Claire is a heartbeat away from robbing them when the old man simply invites the two travelers home instead. His wife puts a hot meal in front of them, and the old man waves Billy up to the table to eat beside them like a guest. The tracker, who has spent a lifetime being called an animal, quietly falls apart right there at dinner. He talks about newcomers living fat and comfortable on land. His people can't even walk anymore, and their host has the decency to look ashamed. The couple gives them a wash, spare clothes, and warm beds, and come morning drives the two of them into town, handing over a little money for food and a warning to keep up the act for Billy's sake. Launceston is crawling with soldiers, and the first familiar face they see says everything about how the world works. Hawkins is right there in a captain's uniform. The rank he couldn't earn, the rank he butchered a family over, got handed to him anyway. Claire steps into a shop and tries to trade away the trinkets the lieutenant once paid her with, and the shopkeeper turns her out, certain a woman like her must have stolen them. Outside, Billy has found something better. Becky is standing by the lodgings, which means the men they're hunting are sleeping under that roof. Before they can move, Hawkins and Roos walk out and stop dead at the sight of two people who are supposed to be corpses. The new captain doesn't panic. He sends his sergeant to fetch a constable, announcing loudly that this madwoman is a thief who attacked the king's soldiers, and tells Claire to her face that she belongs in the ground next to her daughter. That sentence burns away whatever fear she has left. Claire waves Billy back out of sight and follows Hawkins straight into the officers' club, into a room stuffed with brass and gentlemen, and detonates. She names him a murderer in front of all of them. She lists what he did to her husband, to her child, every crime loud and specific, while the officer tries to laugh it off as the raving of a criminal. The men around him are not laughing with him. She looks the captain dead in the eye and asks what's wrong with with the little soldier boy, whether his mommy ever loved him, and he answers her with a slap across the face. Claire doesn't flinch. She plants herself in front of him and sings the same voice he used to command, now aimed straight at him, carrying her story to every man in the room. The whole officer corps knows exactly what it's looking at. Not one of them lifts a finger. She walks out with her head up, and Billy gets her on the horse and out of town before any constable shows up. They camp beyond the edge of the settlement, and the night turns quiet and honest. Claire apologizes to Billy for the way she treated him at the start, for hating him on sight when he's carried her farther than anyone alive. She admits her revenge is finished, that she'll never get another chance at Hawkins. Billy answers with a simple piece of his own law. When his people find a man gone rotten like that, one who can't be cured of it, they don't let him keep living among the rest. The cold creeps in, and Claire, for once in this whole journey, lies down beside Billy like family and sleeps. She wakes alone, and she knows exactly where Billy went. She rides for town as fast as the dark allows and finds him near the lodgings, painted for war in the markings of his people. There's no talking him out of anything. Billy walks inside, goes up to the captain's room, and puts a spear through Hawkins without a word wasted. The noise brings Ruse out, shooting, and his one shot catches Billy in the gut. One shot is all the time he gets. Before the sergeant can reload, the wounded tracker closes the distance and finishes the last of them, slow enough that Ruse understands exactly what it's for. Claire pulls Billy onto the horse and they ride, following the river away from the lights, all the way down to where fresh water runs into the sea. This is the country of his people. Bleeding badly, barely upright, Billy plants his feet in the sand as the sky starts to pale. He sings in his own language, and he dances, moving like a man who knows he did the one right thing left to him. Claire stands at the water's edge and answers the only way she can with a song from home in her own tongue for everyone she's lost. Nobody can say if his wounds will let him see another morning. This one is his, and no empire on earth can take it from him. The sun climbs out of the ocean, and the two of them watch it rise, free in the only way that was ever left to them. And that's the story, friends. Here's the part that stays with you. Claire spent the whole film asking the law for justice, from the magistrate to a room full of officers, and the law looked straight through her every single time. What she finally received came from a man that same law refused to even count as a person. The Empire called Billy a savage, and he turned out to be the most decent soul in it. So here's my question for the comments. Claire froze when Hawkins was right there in her sights. Was that weakness, or was that the last human part of her refusing to become him? Tell me what you think below. I read everything. If this one hit you, drop a like and subscribe.